Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. What I'd love to do today is to go through a book, and the book that I've selected for today's episode is entitled Humility, the Joy of Self-Forgetfulness, a book that was published on the 19th of December 2022 by an author named Gavin Ortlund. So this book is a little bit different to the books that we normally talk about, but I feel that it's important to have a variety of books to go through to help us broaden our perspectives and also to help piece together a lot of those things that people struggle with. So this book here explores the transformative power of humility in one's personal, spiritual and relational lives. So let's have a step through this book, a book which is spiritual in nature, and see what we can glean, what we can learn, and what we can incorporate into our inventory of skills, knowledge, wisdom, and call upon it from time to time or whenever we need to solve some of the challenges that we may face in our lives. So let's see what this author talks about. And the first point that he makes is that humility is central to a Christian life. Ortlund emphasizes that humility is foundational to all of those who choose to follow Jesus Christ. He says that true humility actually means recognizing our dependence on God and simply submitting to His will rather than seeking our own glory. And the reason why humility is so important is because, according to this author and according to the scriptures, humility leads to a thing called joy. One of the main points of the book is that humility brings joy because it frees us up from the burden, the overbearing burden of pride and self-centeredness. And by focusing less on ourselves, we can experience a deeper sense of contentment and fulfillment. The author here talks about something that we've all, I guess, grown up with and have learnt at some stage throughout our lives, that pride is the root of many evils, the root of many sins, the thing that stands between us and God. And the author Ortlund explains that pride often underlies other sins such as envy, anger, and greed. So through overcoming pride, through humility, it puts us on a path and allows us to combat these other negative traits and hopefully grow in ways that are spiritual. When it's all said and done, humility helps strengthen relationships, and this book highlights how humility often fosters healthy and loving relationships by putting others first, listening well, and admitting when we are wrong. We are able to build stronger, more compassionate connections with others, ourselves, and with God. Humility at the end of the day is all about self-forgetfulness, because true humility is not about thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. Ortlund encourages readers to shift their focus away from self-promotion and comparison with others, and instead be concerned with serving others and being one with God. When it's all said and done, the author here reminds us that Christ is the ultimate example of humility. Ortlund points to the life of Jesus as the perfect model of humility. Christ's willingness to actually lower himself, serve others, and ultimately sacrifice his life is in and of itself an ultimate demonstration of what true humility actually is and looks like. And the last point to come from this book is where the author calls us to action, saying that humility requires daily practice, daily ascesis, because cultivating and curating humility is a lifelong process. Ortlund suggests that it requires daily acts of self-reflection, confession, and a willingness to put the needs of others ahead of our own. So these lessons from this book entitled Humility emphasize the transformative power of embracing a thing called self-forgetfulness, and instead of talking and focusing on your needs, to look at serving God with all your heart, mind and soul, and serving others, and in embracing and following Christ's example, so that we can lead a more peaceful, joyful and spiritually rich life. And what I loved about this book is where the author talks about joy rather than happiness, because joy is different to happiness. Joy is being one with God. Joy comes from serving God. Joy comes from doing things for others, as opposed to happiness, which is more of a selfish inclination and a selfish emotion, because happiness in its way and form comes from serving your own selfish needs and wants. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club, and I look forward to coming to you again from another place and with another message of empowerment. Take care and bye for now.